Okay, we're gonna try this again today.
Take two.
Special guest, take three.
Oh.
My husband, he can tell you his credentials, but we are getting a lot of questions about quick fixes and medications to losing weight. So we're going to talk about the popular stuff right now. Do you want to, most people call him Tank. Do you want to say why you're qualified to talk about this?
Qualified because I have 6 initials after my name, MD, medical doctor, and then fellow of the American College of Surgeons, FACS. So holds me to an even higher standard, which then implores me to discuss these 3 new medications, relatively new, one's newer than the others,
and newer in popularity. I mean, one of them is new, but some of them have been around a while. So most people would call them, what is it, GLPs?
GLP-1s. And the latest is a GLP-1 and a GIP.
So you're probably hearing about ozempic. What are the other brand names?
Wegovy is the same medication. Those are both semaglutide. They're GLP-1, and that stands for a glucagon-like peptide 1. Glucagon is a hormone secreted by the gut. So these are artificially made, like a hormone from the gut is what it is.
So sometimes he talks too smart. So I will tell him to bring it down. Just remember, we want layman terms. No jokes. Okay. We just want to know layman terms, what it does, what that means for us.
So, and then the newest, which just got FDA approved this year, is Monjauro, which is tirzepatide. So, which does another hormone, which is GIP, which here you go. This is why I get paid more money. So it's a glucose dependent insulinotropic polypeptide.
What does that mean?
Which means it's glucose dependent, so it modifies or metabolizes your glucose, and it is insulin tropic, meaning it enhances. Like an inotrope is a medication that stimulates the heart to make it stronger. So this makes your insulin and your other hormones that are to modulate your glucose work better and more efficiently.
Okay, why would we take this?
So generally, the first 2 have been used for diabetes type 2. And it's mainly in the obese population because it helps make your glucose or your insulin work better and maybe produce more. But it also made people lose weight, which was a side effect.
And so this is the drug that you're seeing and you're hearing a lot of celebrities are taking. It's being used off label for weight loss for people that do not have diabetes. It's why you're hearing of the shortage. So that's the medicine he's referring to here.
Right. And the new one, tirzepatide, it's got the other, but it still has the same effect, the GLP-1 effect. So when I talk about GLP-1 effects and why it's dangerous, all 3 have the same problem. So they're given at least once a week, sub-Q. So it's an injection by a doc or a practitioner or somebody a nurse that's qualified to do that. Or more. For diabetes, it was used more often, sometimes every other day. It makes people feel full. It decreases craving, and like I said, it helps you more efficiently metabolize glucose. And what they found in studies is that with the Ozempic and the Wegovy, there's a 17% decrease in weight. So
that sounds really good.
And now recently, when they looked at tirzepatide, it's 22.5% reduction in weight. That's 52 pounds and this is only in people that have a BMI over 30. So they're obese.
Very obese.
That's a lot of weight.
Significant.
The problem with that I'll get to is what that weight loss was. So, the risks are common side effects, nausea, vomiting, abdominal pain, pancreatitis, which can be lethal, and more importantly, thyroid cancer, which I'll get into also, since it's been studied.
Yeah, I heard a reel, I think this morning or yesterday, on how bad those numbers are.
Yeah, so PubMed, which is a well-accepted kind of medical journal summary, showed an article from the NIH.
I was just going to say, you can research yourself on PubMed.org.
Right.
It's fantastic. You can get all of these clinical research articles. Don't just listen to your friend or your neighbor. You need to know what these actually do to you and if they're really going to give you the weight loss or the health that you think they're going to.
So French study, they used the French data bank for their healthcare and published this in 2023. So it's this year. And when we look at something of what's the risk of something, hazard ratio is what we call it. So if the risk is nothing when you're on it, then your hazard should be 1 and your normal, meaning not on it, should be 1 to get whatever disease we're talking about. Let's say thyroid cancer. So if the incidence in the population is 100, you're on the medication, that's 100, your ratio is 100 over 100, which is 1 to 1, right?
Yeah.
Okay, so this is on these medications, although the most recent hasn't been tested yet, but does the same thing. And maybe more so because it uses the GIP hormone. It's 1.58 and 1.95. So it's almost 2 times the risk. If you look at the population that's not on this medication, so the general population compared in a study from 2006 to 2018, there's a 46% increase in thyroid cancers. If you're on it from 1 to 3 years, there's a 58% increase. And if you're on it for greater than 3 years, it's 36%.
Okay, wait, so I have a question. So the 1.58 that you were saying, like when you want it to be at a 1, is that possible negative effects that you don't want?
No, this is whatever we're saying. Okay, what's the risk of you getting pancreatitis on this medication? So, and if the general population, they said in my other example,
No, I want for this one though. So is that related to
right?
thyroid?
So this would be 100 people are going to get thyroid cancer. 158 people are now going to get thyroid cancer. So your ratio is now 1.58 over 1.
That's
so
bad. 58% higher.
It's a 58% increase, right? So, yeah, and then the other one's worse. It was 1.95, so it's almost 100%, doubles the rate.
Okay,
right?
I'm not medical. I don't even pretend to be. I think that's interesting because we see in health coaching a lot of thyroid underactive, overactive clients that you're taking something to help lose weight, and it almost sounds like it's attacking your thyroid.
Well, it somehow
misfired.
it's there are people who have risks. There's MEN, which is multiple endocrine neoplasia syndromes, and in MEN2, this exponentiates that problem. So that's not well known. It's got to be somewhat genetic in nature. But I mean, there are things that we do, like skin exposure to UV. It morphs the nucleus and the DNA, and then you have got cancer. So something's going on at a cellular level that's making this then cause a higher incidence of cancer.
Okay, that's not good. Carry on.
No. So now what's not well discussed is how these drugs cause the weight loss. So when you and I naturally, say through Optavia, or you just reduce your calories to compare what, and you expend more, you're going to lose weight. Calories in, calories out. You will lose 1/4 of that weight in muscle mass and 3/4 of fat. So that's good. You reduce your fat content of your body, reduces your percentage of total body fat, but you also lose some muscle. But we can gain that back with.
I like to take a side note here because if you're watching, you're interested in weight loss. It's pretty much impossible to lose all fat and not lose some muscle mass. And it's also pretty much impossible to, like, if you're bulking up, to gain muscle mass and not gain some fat. There's always a ratio. I know it's what everybody wants, but that's just not the reality. So even like the professional weightlifters, you see them go through bulking and cutting phases because there's always some of both attached. But your muscle mass is so valuable. It helps keep your metabolism high, keeps you healthy. If you get sick, that's what your body needs. So it's so important. I especially tell clients to look at their muscle mass and then compare it to their body fat percentage, because the body fat percentage, that's covering every cell. Some of that's covering your organs. That's covered, right? So that body fat, it can be really bad. So when he's saying it, it's almost like 75% loss. You would have fat loss, which is great. And just a quarter, you would have muscle.
Right.
In a
So,
normal, healthy way of
right.
losing weight.
And this is why that's important. What we've discovered, some of us have known for a long time, is that fat in your system is completely inflammatory. When you reduce your fat content of your body, you reduce the inflammation. You see autoimmune diseases disappear. You see, well, fatty liver disappear. Hey, you know what the most common cause of cirrhosis is now that causes transplants for livers? Fatty liver disease. It used to be other things like alcohol or hepatitis.
What's causing the fatty liver disease?
And that's being obese or overweight. And it's
Fatty
not
foods.
always just obese, it's now overweight. So that fat, your liver enzymes are up, you're denied your life insurance because of that.
I was listening to a podcast that said 92% of Americans have a metabolic, I don't know what term he used, but it was like a metabolic issue. We are now, because you used to never exercise, you were active in your lifestyle because that's what you had to do. We've become very sedentary and we have food really readily available to us. This overweight and obesity issue is really the last few generations. It was not, this is a first world problem, honestly. It couldn't exist before. You didn't have enough food. Sorry,
well, and it's a lot of things. I mean,
it is a lot of things.
It's our diet, it's our impatience with fixing hunting stuff, you know, fast food restaurants that are full of fat. Come out here to the South and see how many fried foods we have.
The cheap food that has been subsidized by our programs is not good for you. There's a million causes.
So let me give you an example what this means. So these will be numbers, just stay with me.
Don't glaze over.
Let's say you weigh 200 pounds and you're small. So your total body fat content's 40%. High. Okay, you lose 50 pounds. Good thing. Let's say we do it naturally, right? So a quarter of that 50 pounds, which is 12.5 pounds, was muscle. 37.5 was fat. So you lost 80 pounds, or you had 80 pounds, you lost 37.5 of fat. You take that number, divide it now by 150 is what you weigh, and your percent body fat's now 28.3. That's good.
Still
were
overweight.
At 40.
Yeah.
But now you're in a healthier range.
Under 25 is healthy, so you're close.
Okay, so now you're on a GLP-1. You lose the same 50 pounds. 2/3 of that was muscle, so that's 33.3 of that was muscle. Only 13.6 is fat. 80 minus 13.6 divided by 150, your percent body fat just went up 2.2%. It's now 42.2. You're fatter, though you lost weight, than you were before because of this medication.
And so in that scenario, both of them, you weigh 150 pounds now, right? Except one of them, you're very close to healthy, and one of them, you're not. So this brings up what I call skinny fat. I don't know if there's an actual medical term for that, but you see people that have just had fast metabolisms or have never had to worry about what they eat, but it's not actually taking care of what's happening on the inside. We both adamantly care about your insides. We health coach for prevention, and he will save your life for reaction. But we need to try to be on the prevention side, and there is not a quick fix.
Right.
I wish there was. There are ways that we can help you for sure, but this is actually making your body composition less healthy. And the skinny fat person, also that same podcast I had listened to, I'll attach it in the notes. He talked about how, actually, I think it was on Dr. Hyman's podcast. He talked about how the skinny fat person is much more likely to die of diseases, significantly higher. And it's because of what he's highlighting. So you're lacking muscle mass and you have significant body fat. You guys, we know what it looks like after we cook bacon and there's just all that sitting there. Imagine if that's all in your body. We're not going to be functioning the way we should be.
Yes, it increases the viscosity or the thickness of your blood, which makes you more prone to clot. If you clot in your heart, you get a heart attack. You clot in your brain, you get a stroke. So somewhere else, you lose part of that organ.
And I don't want to be trashing fat because you do need fat in your body. It insulates every cell. It's essential. You could probably say way more about fat than I can, but you don't need that level of body fat, right? Under 25% to be healthy. Really, men should probably be under 20%. You can't have no fat. You would be dead. So I don't want to, bash fat too much, but we have a serious problem in our society.
Right. So now next problem. Let's say you quit this drug. 66% of your weight comes back.
Pretty
And
fast.
it's mostly fat. So what's that that tells me that you need to stay on this product for life.
They say the second you
For
stop.
life.
Yeah.
The second you stop, you regain it.
Wait, hold on.
So how does that change really the core problem of being overweight? Doesn't change your mobility, your motion, your hydration, your sleep,
Energy.
your mindfulness, change your bad habits that got you to where you were, right? And it doesn't give you a community. There's no one to really coach you there.
This is my favorite part. So when I have read as a layperson about Ozempic, because I was researching it, it literally says injections must be combined with a low fat, high protein, healthy lifestyle. I'm like, so if you're doing that, why do you need the injections, which are insanely expensive? I don't know if you'll get into that, but just a side question, because they're saying while you take the injections, you still have to change how you're eating. This isn't a magic injection.
Right. So now that's where I'm going to go next. So this is, hopefully we won't get eliminated from YouTube or anybody else, but this is where the pharmacy and the government bond. I'll use a good word. There's a new head of the nutrition guidelines panel. Her name is Fatima Stanford. She's a Harvard graduate. I don't know if you've ever read these guidelines, but if you're 2 years or older, you're allowed 10%, up to 10% of your caloric intake to be just pure sugar, sprinkled over your cereal or whatever.
It is good.
So let's say a 2,000 calorie individual, that's 200 calories a day. That is 12 teaspoons, which is 4 tablespoons of sugar added to what you eat for the youth.
Which, by the way, has no real nutritional quality. I mean, it tastes delicious. It's the most addictive substance on the planet. It doesn't have micronutrients. It doesn't have vitamins. It doesn't have minerals. It doesn't have fiber. I mean, it's literally spiking your blood sugar, leading to, I was hearing about kids and diabetic kids, and they are recommending these for young kids.
Right.
It's heartbreaking.
Yeah.
It's heartbreaking.
Yeah, no, the newest one is now just been recommended by the FDA for 12 and up. So, not type 1, which is usually what those, but now that we've got
type 1 never goes away. Type 1 is usually you get it in childhood, just to clarify. Type 2 is somehow your environment, your lifestyle has now caused it.
The percent of obese kids that are going up every year. So,
and type 2 is reversible. Right. Up to a certain point. It's a
symptom of a symptom, I would say. So what I've seen in coaching Optavia is that obesity is the cause. You get rid of the obesity and it's gone. The inflammatory state, all those things are gone, and your weight's down. Your heart doesn't have to pump as hard. Your blood pressure goes down. People come off these meds. But there's a reason why they're obese. So that's why it's a symptom of a symptom. Why did they use food to feel better? And that's the question that a coach has to solve, or a therapist, or someone other than a medical professional.
In our coaching, our health coaching, do we see people maintain their weight loss?
Yeah, no, they maintain it because there's someone that's going to be accountable to them to make sure that they're doing it. Check in on them, make sure.
I do it every day. And actually we have a community too, because it's really hard. And this is a topic people don't talk about openly because it's really frustrating when you've tried all kinds of things. We understand that. We've gone through our own weight loss journey as well. And I'm grateful for medications, but they really are a Band-Aid. They're reactive. So thank goodness for them, but let's figure out how to get to the preventive, how to feel good, how to be healthy without needing that.
2 docs. One, again, I said Fatima Stanford is now pushing for legislation to make obesity a disease. Why? Well, once it's declared as a disease, then the US government, Medicare specifically, can cover that. They would cover this medication for weight loss. That's great for Big Pharma. You've now got the insurance, the deep pocket, covering a pharmaceutical. I don't know if you guys know, but this is startling that we learned. Medicare has an expenditure every year. There's Part A, Part B, Part C, and Part D. Part D are the medications. That accounts for 50% of the Medicare budget. And those are like just 10 meds, blood pressure, diabetes. It's just 10 meds makes up 99% of that cost. Yeah, now this, it's going to be bigger than all those 10.
We co-host a radio show called Raising Expectations. It's bbsradio.com/raising expectations. I'll put that in the notes as well. And we had a Medicare specialist on because actually navigating that is crazy. So if you're a senior citizen, you're close to hitting that, we have an amazing person you can talk to. I was shocked how complicated it is, but I actually heard on another podcast, which I'm sticking in the notes too, that our current medication cost in the medical system to our government is more than our defense cost for our government. And that if this is passed to make it a disease, where then it would be covered under certain other circumstances for obesity, because right now it's already approved for diabetes, right?
Mm.
It would more than double our medical cost overhead, you guys. Our system can't support what it currently has.
Right.
So I don't know what that looks like just from a logistics, from a P&L, from a financial accounting perspective. I don't know how this works.
Right. The other doc, I don't remember that person's name. They just came out and said that obesity is a genetic disease. It's not an environment. Right. But that's not true.
If you looked back 3-4 generations ago, we did not have it. Obesity.
Yeah, tell me the gene or the gene splice or the location or whatever. They don't have that. So, just so you know, uninsured, the cost of this medication with a once-a-week injection is $1,000
or higher. I've heard.
Right.
We have someone local that does it and has actually come to me for health coaching because she doesn't like her appearance and she's having clients get injections. We've actually had that with personal trainers as well, and they charge $400 a week for this injection.
And last point is, if you just Google GLP-1, the first thing you're going to get is a company that's trying to lure you into being coached. Interestingly, is what they say. But the reality is, for $99 a month, that you get an insurance concierge. I feel really special when I know I have a concierge involved. They can book my medication for me, but they're going to try and get the authorization. So you pay $99. You get the coaches by message, probably text or email. Who knows how often? If you renew your subscription to the medication, you're going to get a smart scale. So see how they wait for you to, like, I've already bought in, I've gone through a month. It's probably the statistics show if you've done it for a month, you're going to keep doing it for more. So now it's worth the cost of spending $20 on a smart scale. So, yeah, it's a joke. It's a joke.
Okay, so basically, this isn't giving people what they're hoping for, right?
No. So one, it's dangerous. Pancreatitis is serious, though the incidence is low. The thyroid issue is a big issue. I mean, more people on this, it's going to blow up. It's, back in the day, there was an antibiotic that we used that gave kids an anemia that can be reversed. It shut their bone marrow down, and so we stopped using it. The data. So it makes you lose the wrong fat once you come off of it. So you're dependent on it for the rest of your life, to stay that way if you don't change anything else. And then once you do, you're going to gain 66, 2/3 of your weight back.
Would you say on here what you say to our coach team a lot as a physician? Because I can't say it, but I know you can.
Yeah, I'm through who we coach, Dr. Anderson, cardiac anesthesiologist. He talks about just putting a Band-Aid on people. Here's another one unstable. He's got to sleep, getting bypass surgery. And these things could have been prevented, right? So
almost all your cases.
Yeah. So, I mean, in America, we have a dashboard for taking care of people. It's not prevent, none of it's prevention. It's early detection, mammograms, colonoscopies, A1Cs for diabetes.
And early detection is good, by the way.
Yes.
We want to
yeah.
detect it
Breast
early.
cancer, we made a big difference, but people are still getting it. It's just so we find it early.
But
So
what if we were?
But this, I mean, reducing the number of obese people, reducing the inflammation would take away a lot of medications, save our country money. And it saves more lives. I mean, the life expectancy goes up. So
Hold on. What saves more lives?
Losing weight and getting healthy.
So what have you told our coaching
So
team?
what I say is that this coaching program saves more lives than I ever will.
And by the way, you want to see him. If you have a car accident, if you have aneurysm, if you have cancers, you see him. He will save your life.
There's some things you don't want to know what I do, like,
No.
with medicine bottles and that. Sorry.
Sometimes we share a phone thing and he's like, don't look at the pictures. I'm like, ugh. Yeah. But we've helped thousands of people now. We hear it all. I know how frustrating it is to feel like you've tried everything and have gotten nowhere. I encourage you to reach out to us. We give a free consultation to everybody. Normally, what you would even pay for his time, you could never get that. At a minimum, we will love you and encourage you. And at best, we will help you take control of this. And for far less than what these injections are. And we will walk beside you and cheer you on and hold you accountable the entire way. You can reach out to us directly on our social medias. We have links and all that down below. You can also email us. All the different details are on there. Is there anything else you want to say about it?
No, just, be healthy. Ask questions. Ultimate Scholar is the ultimate skeptic. So
follow us on social. We share a lot of free stuff. And thanks.
This is what we do sells itself. People see the changes that people go through on program and what are you doing? So they're life changing, and it's just a blessing for us to be able to do that for people. And how many times I walked in and she's crying and she had 4 ladies that couldn't get pregnant and then were all at the same time.
Yeah. I think there are some people that will tell you like, this is it. This is all you have to do. The reality is it's a daily decision to be healthy. And it's not always easy. So I don't want anybody that tells you like, oh yeah, this injection is perfect, or this pill supplement, or this. No, it's actually more than that. It doesn't have to be hard, but there are steps of taking care of yourself. And when you do the first one, then eventually you can do the next one. And that's our favorite part, is literally to see people transform. And most of it's in here. It's not your physical size. So thanks for listening to us. You did a good job. I was worried it was going to be super college level and I was going to glaze over. I did go to college.
Insulinotropic. Yeah, just remember that one. It's going to be on the next test.
If you are looking them up, GLP-1s, and reach out with any questions.
Yeah, please do.